There, welcome back to the Small Logic channel. I am Ramona, and today's Reddit story, we're doing a little different thing here. This is somebody's crazy experience. I'm going to read their main story, and then a couple of the responses to try to get some answers. So let's see what you think, right? Crazy experience. Bit of backstory, but I'll try to keep it brief. My sister, two cousins, and I used to go to our aunt and uncle's place in Texas for the summer. About 3 years ago was our last time going because we all grew up, which was sad. But the weirdest thing happened when we were all at the mall. My cousin and I were walking back from a game of glow-in-the-dark mini golf after I kicked his ass, when we encountered an older Mexican lady, probably around 5 feet tall, with 4 or 5 kids running around her. In one hand were various papers, graphing paper, notebook paper, plain white paper, etc. In the other was a sign that read, "Need 20,000 to feed my grandkids," or something along those lines. My cousin and I stopped and read the sign, and my cousin said, "Well, I can't give you 20,000, but I can give you this," and hands her a $5 bill. She accepts it and rifles through her stack of papers and pulls out a very small folded one and hands it to my cousin. Not 5 steps of walking away later, he pauses and says, "Holy shit, no way." I ask him what happened, and he tells me it's a note that his buddy, who killed himself a few years earlier, gave him in high school, commenting on a poem he wrote in English class, and that he thought he'd lost it. Now, mind you, this is a big-ass mall, so there's no way this lady and her 5 kids could have turned the corner because we were in the literal middle of it, but when we turned around, she was gone. Anyone know of a spirit or something to explain what the hell happened to us back then? It's been testing my mind a lot recently. So here go some of the responses. Maybe it was a traveler. I am Native American, and my father, who was born in 1933, passed along a family story that his grandfather, born in 1869, passed on to him when he was 12. He said that there were people known as travelers who came from other worlds. They told stories of worlds like ours, but with strange magic, like metal birds and iron horses who rode on trails of stone. Sounds like airplanes and cars to me. And that they sometimes appeared wearing strange garments and brought messages from the great beyond. My father, even though he was born before television was invented, believed the multiverse was real. I also believe this, having seen many, many strange things in my 56 years on this planet. He thought that the realities would touch from time to time, allowing people and objects to cross from one to the other. He thought that travelers went from place to place, and sometimes they brought messages to people from those other places, other realities. Maybe this woman knew your friend's doubles in one of them. Maybe they found out something that was your buddy's friend had done. Or maybe they wanted him to know that somewhere out there his friend was okay and happy and living his life in an alternate timeline. And this is how they got the message to him. Maybe. Who knows? Nothing is impossible. This is an older story, but several years ago I lost my sister in a single-car accident, and she died on the scene. A few months later, our aunt was on a trip down in Florida at Disney somewhere. There was a woman that painted her picture and asked my aunt if she wanted her picture painted. My aunt declined, but the woman said some other things about how my aunt had lost a loved one recently, and she could tell. My aunt was like, "Yeah, my niece." The woman proceeded to tell her that your niece is in heaven and wants you all to stop worrying about her. She is with the other loved ones that you lost. And something about she will leave you pennies to let you know that she is here with you. My aunt kind of weirded out, but decides she needs a drink, and she never really drinks, rarely if ever, and she gets a drink, pays with a card, takes the drinks down real quick, looks at the bar, and there is a single penny in front of her that wasn't there before. This set on her mind heavily. She went back and decided to get her picture painted and talked to the woman some more. The woman was gone, and no other employees had been there with any kind of info, so they didn't even recognize anyone who worked with her that had that description. It is Alta Gracia. She loves her grandchildren. Anything you thought was lost, she holds on to it for you. You are blessed. She is usually not so obvious. It is easy to see she loves you too. It begins on the third roar of the lion, her words for you. I don't know quite what that means, but somebody might. So there you go. A couple other people just, well, that's wild. That's a cool story. So I don't know. Maybe that's something. Maybe it's a traveler. Maybe it's something else. Nobody really knows. But we'll just move on with that one. So there's a what is the most outrageous high strangeness story you've ever heard or experienced yourself? It starts with this. Let's be real for a second. We've all heard the I saw a light in the sky stories. They're everywhere. But what I'm after is something deeper and something that dances on the lines between absolutely absurd and mind-blowingly real. Let me give you an example. I stumbled upon this Facebook group dedicated to UFO and other mysteries. Pretty standard stuff, right? But then the woman drops a bombshell in the comments. She claims she visited her cousin in Las Vegas, not because she loves the glitz and glamour, she says she usually hates Vegas, but because her cousin, a casino director with connections, promised to take her to Area 51. Now here's where it gets wild. She said that she was shown what they could show her. She didn't see everything, of course, but they took her to 3 levels underground. And while she didn't find what she was hoping for, she swears the experience was fascinating. If that wasn't enough, someone else chimed in. I'm seeing things too, in Russia of all places. Let's talk. Are these stories just tall tales? Could there be fragments of truth hidden in the noise? I don't know, but I want to find out. So this is your space. Tell me your story. The one so bizarre, so jaw-droppingly strange that even your best friends roll their eyes when you bring it up. I'm not asking for proof, although if you've got it, let's see it. I'm asking for the kind of stories that you've kept to yourself because no one would believe me anyway. This isn't about judgment. It's about curiosity and maybe, just maybe, uncovering connections we didn't know existed. Let's hear it. This is the post where you can finally get it all out. So here we go. I was having a party with my friends in a small cabin when we were 17. I passed out on the bed and my best mate crashed beside me. In the middle of the night, I woke up when the friend was over me, shaking me from my shoulders and saying firmly, "Hey, buddy, this is serious. You need to wake up." As I opened my eyes, the whole cabin was on fire and I could only see smoke, flames, and a window. Instinct kicked in and I ran through the flames and jumped headfirst through the window. The friend who woke me up didn't make it out. Next day, in the police interview, I told them just that, but they were confused. Police said the friend was found under the bed and never as much as woke up. Had probably rolled off that shitty bed and under it. I know it wasn't him physically waking me up, but the memory of it somehow was one of the strongest memories I have, whatever it was. I'm new here, so it's good for me since I don't want people to know I post here. I will not give full picture of the town, but it's in southeastern Europe. Weekend, cloudy, and I'm on the regular bus with a girl. Suddenly, a very loud bang rocks the bus and very intensive flash fills the bus. The noise was like those buses that have metal rods on wires. Trolley bus, I think it's called. Except that it was late afternoon, around 5 or 6 local time. We were scared shitless. But the absurd part is the following. The flash lasted for like a second or two, but when it ended, the bus continued regularly like nothing happened. The passengers seemed unfazed, like they didn't even notice. In fact, I know they didn't because my girl and I were commenting like, "Well, what the fuck happened? Is everyone okay?" And the people were looking at us like we fell on our heads. It's almost like something glitched in the Matrix, and we had a reality reboot. No time was lost, I think, but we were too dumbfounded to check, but the rest of the ride was okay. This was in broad daylight. Both of us were sober, no drugs of any kind. We were not tired, dehydrated, or any other disorder that we can think of. We do not have epilepsy or anything similar. Literally a case for the X-Files, I guess. Years ago, I was visiting a friend near Stephenville, and we saw the UFO. Even now, it remains a surreal experience. Up until then, I doubted all UFO stories, and I'm still a skeptic of most stories I hear, but at the same time, I saw something. 2005, Iraq. There was an old government building which was bombed out prior to the war. During the day, you could feel people staring at you, yet no one was there. At night, you could see them. They would walk around the complex, and you would see the black shadow figures everywhere. They would be picked up on camera. We'd shine bright lights at the building, and they would disappear. There was so much paranormal activity in that country. It was insane. I have a few, but this is the one that I cannot explain away. I was in the shower at 6 a.m. getting ready for work. I shampooed my hair and went to put the bottle back on the corner shelf thingy in the shower, and it wouldn't go. You know the feeling when you try and push two magnets together? The force that pushes them back, as if you're not careful, to the side? It was like that. I paused and looked at the bottle. I felt it, and then I felt the shelf. I tried again. No go. I tried another shelf, and it went easy peasy. I tried the original spot again, but nope. So I started pushing as hard as I could, and I braced myself with my foot. It sort of gave way enough that I could place it on the shelf. I let it go, and it flew across the bathroom and hit the wall so hard it broke the cap on the bottle. That's when I decided I was freaked out. Until that moment, I had just been thinking, it's just something catching on something. I ran out of the bathroom screaming for my husband, who then went into the bathroom to try and see if he could get it to happen to him. But it didn't. He was disappointed, since he really wanted to experience something, and he won't believe it until he does. Anyway, it shook me up a lot. I went to work sort of in shock. I almost told my boss several times during the day, but I couldn't get the words to come out of my mouth. I thought, he's just going to think I'm a nut. So it was so weird that I was so freaked out, and I had to keep it all inside. I remember thinking that this is why people don't come forward when weird things happen. That's very true. Most people don't want to tell things because they get the side eye, or they get, whatever they get. My dad told me this. He was sitting in a patio chair around midnight, smoking a cigarette and looking at the stars. It was just a clever night down the river outside his little house. No wind or clouds. He was just smoking and listening to the summertime crickets and looking skyward. He said an intense light fell from the sky and angled downward. It came from above and behind him. He saw at once that it had cleared the roof, overhanging above him. He said it looked like a miniature comet, a bright baseball-sized orb glowing a bright white light, and a tail that was a foot long. The tail was white around the orb, slowly fading to yellow at the tip of the tail. In a fraction of a second it hit the ground in front of him and was just gone. It made no sound and just whizzed past him from the sky into the blacktop driveway. It was pretty dark, so he used his lighter to shine around on the ground to see where it had disappeared into, but he couldn't see anything. He swears, though, that the spot where it had hit was strange. The next morning there was a slimy snail trail-like shimmering spiral pattern on the blacktop about the size of the comet-like object. I don't know what it possibly could have been, but he swears it's true. I myself have seen some wild events in a daytime sky. I saw tic-tac-shaped things, around 20 or so, floating around each other. They moved through the air like amoebas and on a microscope slide. They did that for a few seconds before completely fading away. Nobody believes either of us, and I don't blame them. So we're going to stop this little video right there. We're just going to do another one or two because there's actually quite a few good stories on here. So I hope you have enjoyed this. If so, go check out another few videos. They're always on the channel. If you like to color or read, check out my Amazon authors page. And until next time, thanks for listening and watching. Bye.